during this combo, I've been overlaying some cool shots of you on the wing out at Longy, mate, flying. The top speed on those things is pretty immense, right?
Yeah, you can definitely go quick. I'm definitely haven't dabbled much in the racing stuff, but over in Europe they're doing full-on like slalom races out and back and through the waves, and I'm excited for that to take off here.
That's pretty amazing. So on GoFoil, James, I mean the red and the blue foils are pretty distinct, mate, and they're everywhere, right? So why do you think? I mean, look, obviously sponsored, but they're obviously an amazing product, right? Why do you think they've just been so popular? Particularly, it's not just here on the beaches; it's all around the world, right?
Yeah. Look, they were the original, or that they reinvented like modern day foiling. Alex Aguirre worked with Kai Lenny, and they got Kai downwind foiling over on Maui, and from there's been lots of brands that have sort of spurred it off. He sort of restarted the foiling evolution, and like, so I guess, modern day on a surfboard foiling rather than moon boots foiling. And yeah, for me the GoFoil range is so wide. Like, you can literally do everything. You can downwind, you can tow foil, you can pump out in the surf, you can just ride a wave, and the range is something that not a lot of other brands do. So it allows you to get into lots of different aspects of foiling, and for me the fact that Alex Aguirre is really sort of passionate about winging, downwinding, foil surfing, and he lives in Maui where conditions are pretty good. I've been lucky enough to sort of work with him, and he'll send me a foil and I'll be like, look, maybe that's just a Maui foil, that's not going to work here, or he's an older guy, he doesn't mind me saying this. I said, that's an old man foil, Alex. We can make this smaller for downwind or for surfing or whatever it is. So it's been a really good relationship. And with Dave Kalama testing the downwind stuff, his son Austin testing the surf stuff, and Alex testing all the wing stuff, he's come up with a really conclusive range. Like, there's not many gaps in it.
Awesome.
So it's, for me, working with Alex, it's been a pleasure. Super laid back, chilled. Dylan's been an awesome addition too here in Australia.
So Dylan's up in Newcastle, right?
Yeah,
he's the Australian licensee, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So he's been awesome. He's really pushed it here, and he's done a great job. And yeah, it's cool to get, I got Zane's on GoFoil now, and Joe, we're trying to get him into downwind foiling, so he's gotten himself a GoFoil set up. So it's awesome, because I know that if they have the right equipment, they can do anything they want to be doing, and I know that GoFoil stuff is working really well. So yeah, they're getting it done. And
it seems like it's a pretty cool culture in there as well. So I know Dylan up in Newcastle, if you're in that area, mate, get in contact with him if you want to try one out, because he'll get you started, he'll get you up on your feet, and he'll actually take you through that learning process too if you're in that area. So
yeah,
pretty awesome.
Yeah, Dylan's got a great setup up there. He's got a ski and all the licenses, so he can literally teach you from the very beginning all the way through, and some great spots up there to foil too, which is awesome. I get one of the other things that's worth mentioning. GoFoil is super, like the stuff's very durable. I've run into some serious rocks, reefs, sandbanks, and nothing's broken yet, which is pretty rare in foiling equipment these days. So if you're looking at something and you're pretty hard on your gear, then GoFoil's going to be a good one to test how hard you are on your gear.
Awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
So look, for someone who's been thinking, if you're like maybe an outrigger paddler or a surf ski paddler, kayaks, but they've decided they're going to give the foiling a go, because it's like the new crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
It's so cool to film. I love it. So what's some tips or some advice that you could give to someone? What's some of the most common mistakes that people new to the sport make?
Yeah, so the biggest mistake I see people is they initiate lift when they're not ready for it. So I talk about the training wheels. So in the modules, this is one of the things I talk about, but it's keeping the board on the water. So when you're learning, the skill isn't creating the lift, the skill is keeping the board or the foil in the water, so you control the lift. So I talk about, the training wheels, keep your board on the water, because that's going to give you extra balance. The foil still acts, like it's still working even if it's under the water, and your board's on the water too. So keep your training wheels on. Your first 2-3 waves, just take off and keep the board on the water the entire wave. If you're learning behind a boat or on an e-foil, first 2 or 3 minutes, keep your board on the water and get used to how the foil interacts with the water. And that board being on the water is going to give you that extra bit of stability. So yeah, control the lift, so then when you do get up, you know that you can put it back down again without getting catapulted up into the sky.
And I can just imagine the speed and the progression at which, say, someone that engages with you with the online coaching and stuff, they'd be cutting some massive amount of time off that learning process just by getting straight to that gold information.
Yeah, that's the whole idea is, and you can only give so much advice. I think the main thing that the online thing works for is I got a Facebook group and we have a weekly call and a weekly, goal setting. So we talk about what we want to work on and what we have learned in the last week. Yep. And on Tuesdays, all the questions are answered, or we get into a group call, and any questions that they need answered, we get on and we discuss it and go from there. So that's
like that. So you got the whole interactive thing as well as the online modules.
Yeah. So sort of, I think the interactive thing is actually more, valuable than the modules, but they work really well hand in hand because people working through it, if they've got questions, answered straight away within the week.
So James, the West Head run the other day, mate, was pretty all-time. One of your favourites. What do you want to share with everyone about that?
Yeah, in winter we get a lot of westerlies and you can't really drive up to the start point, up past West Head. There's a little beach, Flint and Steel. That's a really cool spot to get to, but it's a long drive. So what we've done here, the local foiling crew, is in a westerly wind, we'll wing ding or sail or whatever you want to call upwind. And then what a lot of crew have been doing is either packing the sail down on the beach up at Flint and Steel and then having a paddle with them and paddling back to where we started, up at Palm Beach. I've sort of taken it a little bit further and I wing up, and originally I took a paddle with me and I'd deflate while up on the foil and so just hold I'd get the sail and I actually put in a backpack a lot of the time, but I've figured out that I just don't really need the paddle if I'm already up on the foil. So I'll wing upwind and then I'll just deflate the wing and I'll just sort of hold it under my arm like a rugby ball and just downwind all the way back to the eastern tip of Barrenjoey headland. And if you come down, I've actually got a pump in my backpack.
Which I've got footage of all of this while people are watching this now as you're speaking. But
yeah, a lot of people have asked me about it because it's a bit of a different way of downwinding, and that's what I love doing, is sort of exploring different ways to get people into it. So a lot of people know how to wing foil, and if they can just learn to pull the pin on their wing while they're downwinding, then all of a sudden they've got their chip shot into the downwinder, and they can just sort of
they're ready to go.
They're ready to go.
Because the whole process from start to finish only took you 3-4 minutes to repump it back up and then just head straight back up into the wind and go for another run.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit more than 3 to 4 minutes to pump it back up, but I've actually just been deflating the leading edge and keeping the middle strut inflated, so it's a little bit less pumping. But it isn't long. Like it's some people will take longer to wait for a bump to paddle up onto foil, so it's definitely an easier way if people can get their heads around deflating the wing and getting it organised while going downwind.
And this is where, from like an OC1 perspective, we do that same run where we either come in at Acuna Bay or up near Flint and Steel, but you got one bite of the apple. You get one downwind run, or if you want to paddle from Palmy, it's like a massive headwind into a 35-40 knot wind, which you can then have a great run back. But for you can do it as many times as you want.
I literally, in the last, month, we've probably had 4 or 5 big westerlies, and I've literally done that section, which is it's like a gold 5 kilometres. Yeah. Probably 10, 12 times now. So at least twice when there's a good wind, and sometimes 3 or 4 times.
Awesome.
And I love going. Yeah, it's a crazy run, and by using this wing upwind, deflate the wing, foil back downwind, have the pump in the backpack, pump it back up, do it again, do it as many times as you want. Yeah. It's unreal. And actually, we had a southerly in between the westerlies, and I did the same thing. I started at Collaroy and I winged upwind to Manly, and then I deflated and I foiled all the way down to Palm Beach. And I came down a couple times because I was testing a smaller foil, but I had to sit down 3 or 4 times to pump the wing back up. Yeah. And it was unreal because you're on a smaller board, you're on a smaller foil, and as long as there's plenty of wind, you use the wing to get going, and it's a no-brainer.
The world's your oyster.
That's it. I'm frothing on it, and I hope I see more people doing it because I think it is a cool way to do it. Yeah. So on that wing, deflate, downwind, pump up, I'm going to add that to my downwind foil module. So it's like another extension. A lot of people don't want to learn to stand up paddle to learn to downwind foil. So there's lots of guys prone foiling, but when they come down, they get stuck out the sea and have to paddle in. Yeah. So with the wing, you can literally, with a wing and a pump, you've got your get out of jail free card. You fall off, that's not so bad. Go the pump out of the back, pump up your wing, get your chip in, and go again. So that's something I'm going to definitely add, and hopefully that's something that grows because it's a really good way to get people into downwind foiling.
So James, as a little bit of a special thank you from Ocean Culture and yourself and some of the awesome suppliers that are around the place, I'm going to be doing a little prize. So when we hit 1,000 followers, which I think I've been up and running for about a week, and we're already up over the 600-700 mark, which is pretty
close then.
Which is pretty awesome. So the giveaway is going to happen pretty soon, I guess. But mate, why don't you share with everybody what you're going to put in there as a bit of a thank you and gift for our ocean culture, followers and people that are jumping on board.
Yeah, well, I want to give away 5 Coach Casey Club memberships.
Awesome.
So it's access to the downwind foil module, the surf foil module, and then all the SUP racing modules too. So it's I'm almost finished the surf foil module, but there's still info there, so I'm not fully advertising it yet. But it's a work in progress, and
awesome.
There's the starter pack is sort of there. But yeah, I'm going to give away 5 of those and get more people in and more people out there downwinding awesome. and foiling and doing it all, getting in the ocean.
And also Dylan from Go Foil Australia's chucking in some merch, and Dean Gardner from Ocean Paddlers going to be putting in some stuff there for the ski paddlers. Sammy Parker from WSS Boards as well is putting in some cool stuff there. So it's going to be a great little prize.
Great little prize
I think what we'll do if there might even be multiple prizes. So if you're a ski paddler, you get the ski stuff. If you're foiler, you get the foil stuff. So that way we can.
Although I don't know, maybe the ski paddlers want to transition over to the foiling.
That's the whole beauty of ocean culture, right? It's all about the crossover.
Exactly.
So when we get to 1,000, we'll figure all of that out. But mate, that's all gold. So thank you for your support, bud.
My pleasure. Thank you for everything you're doing for ocean culture, because it's just getting everyone out there, especially in the times lockdowns, and we can still go on the water. So let's make the most of it.
So James, that's awesome, bud. Thanks so much for being involved. And for everyone at home, thanks so much for tuning into Ocean Culture Magazine. Stay super safe out in the water there. Take really good care of each other in these times all around the world. Until next time, we'll catch you really soon.